Welcome back. Right, as you can see, I have quite a lot of bits all over my cutting board. First of all, I had this is the Australian truck, a Revell. No, it's not. It's an Australian truck, an Iteria model. I had most of it finished. You might remember from an earlier video. Most of the disasters that befall us while we're making these models are, well, we'd never admit they were our fault, but somebody else's fault. This one is entirely my fault. I never liked the colour. I painted the fuel tanks chrome. I soaked the fuel tanks in, the original fuel tanks, in caustic soda, got rid of all the crappy chrome that comes with them, got rid of all that because it doesn't look natural, it looks like plastic with chrome plating on it of some sort. So I got rid of all of that, and I then painted the fuel tanks a gloss black as per the instructions, and then painted them with I bought a bottle of green stuff chrome paint, which it didn't do too bad a job, to be fair. Just let me see if I can find said bottle. Can't find it. I've probably thrown it down the garden. Anyway, painted it with that, and then what I found was when I handled the fuel tanks, and I'd left it for 3 or 4 days to cure, to harden, when I handled the fuel tanks, it started going duller and duller. It looked really good when it was first put on, something similar to what it is on the bottom there, but it started going duller and duller. And I also sprayed a high coat lacquer, the type that you would spray your car with, over the top of it, and that killed the shine on it completely. It went to more or less this, and to be honest, I was quite happy with that for a while. It's more like an aluminium finish. However, it didn't go that way all over everywhere. It shaded, it was all colours. So what I decided to do was repaint the fuel tanks. The fuel tanks were all fitted to the truck, and I looked at them, and I looked along the chassis, and the large fuel tank slopes this way. Oh, where are we? The large fuel tank, which hangs off these two hangers, slopes this way. That's obvious. My finger's obviously a very big exaggeration. And the smaller fuel tanks, these, sloped that way. And it looked, I didn't like it at all. It really bugged me every time I looked at the fuel tank. And now you probably won't be able to see this on the camera because it is subtle. Just let me get this. The hangers, this one is almost at the top of the chassis frames, and this one's down by about 1/8 of an inch, a couple of mil, and it's the same on the other side. This side's more pronounced. It's about 1.5 mil on that side. So in a fit of pique, I took the fuel tanks off. To be fair, it wasn't that difficult a job. They more or less fell off. I have no idea why. And what I've decided to do when I put them back on is scrape the paint away, which I did last time, and use Revell's own glue. And hopefully that will stick them on. It's a heavier glue, it's a thicker glue than the extra thin, the Tamiya extra thin. So, not too bad. What I'm going to do with the fuel tanks now is I'm going to paint them gloss black, which were the colour of the tanks on the truck that I had. I'd also sprayed the bull bar in exactly the same way with the chrome, and I've taken it all off. It's horrible, it really is. I'd also sprayed the radiator. Now on the radiator grill, I've left some on the inside. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see what happened with the paint. If I move in ever so gently, there we go, and you can see, whoops, where am I going? There. You can just about see at the bottom there where there's little ripples in it, and those little ripples went all the way round all the way around there, all the way along the bottom, down the middle. They were all over the front of this, the bull bar, and in particular down the sides, and it looked really bad. So all of that now, let me get back out to where I'm supposed to be. All of that now is being painted black. This is a handmade one, a scratch build catwalk for the back of the cab. So that's being painted black. It'll have a black primer on it first and then a gloss black coat. The fuel tanks are being painted black primer, then a gloss black coat. As you can see, the steps fell off this one, just a touch, and off they came. And I don't know why that's happened, but there you go. I shall find out. I'll glue them back on and find out. The other thing that I might do is, mine had the cab was red, the whole motor was red, but the fuel tank hangers, the straps, fuel tank straps were all red. Maybe not. I'll see. The battery boxes aren't too bad, but to me they look plastic. They don't look right at all. So again, black primer and a black gloss, and I'll paint the steps on them aluminium. So that's all of that. What I'm also going to do is alter this, all of this on the frame where it goes, where the tanks hang, and get it all nice and straight, so that you can't see with my hand there, so it's all nice and straight and it looks right. So that it was really annoying me that they weren't actually straight, but I shall fix that. So that's all of that. Like I say, some disasters aren't really our fault, because some of you may already know we've just moved house, so everything had to be packed up, and somehow I damaged the masking on the back of the cab here, which is the entranceway into the sleeper. The corresponding hole in the front of the sleeper there. And this is the driver's seat. While I was taking the old masking off, I thought, what's that rattling? When I moved it, what's that rattle? When I got the masking off, the driver's seat fell out. So I've got no idea. It was glued on properly, and it was glued plastic to plastic, not plastic to paint. So I've no idea why that came out. So what I've got to do now is try with a pair of bent tweezers to try and get that glued back into its correct position. But there you go. We'll give it a go when I get it. I have no idea how I did that, how that came to be broken off. These bits here, all underneath, that is simply a strengthener to that white piece there. Simply a strengthener to make sure that the back stays where it's been put, and that back will come off. It will have tiny magnets to hold it on. At the moment it's held on by double-sided tape, but these are tiny magnets. Can you see that? Yep, and it pops up. So tiny magnets, super glued to the inside, and when it's all painted up, that will hold it on nicely. So all the underneath sprayed with black primer, and it doesn't need black gloss. All underneath here, underneath the bonnet, will be black with black primer. Again, doesn't need gloss, it can stay as a black primer. That would be nice, that. And that's about where I'm up to with that. So although I had got it to almost finished, where all I had to do was paint it and assemble it, I've taken a good lump of it apart that needs to be put back together again. Put the seat away up there somewhere so I don't lose him. So that's where I'm up to, and hopefully that won't take too long. Just an aside on that, just to fill the video up really, all this lot is extra in the kit. The bed isn't really extra. I've got all the electronics in there in the sleeper cab, so there was no room for the bed, and you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. There's no windows into the sleeper box, so that was surplus requirements, but this is obviously for another truck, and I'm guessing it's for a Western Star, an American one, excuse me, rather than the Australian version. Anything else? No, I don't think there is. So what I'll do is I will do what I said. The cab's going to be red, so I'll paint that with a grey primer and then a gloss red it. And when I get to that stage, I'll do another video and let you know how I've got on. Any questions, any comments, good or bad, please don't hesitate, put them in the boxes below. Thanks very much for watching, and I shall see you again next time. Ta-da!